What's something you haven't yet done that you suddenly realize, boy, I really want to and need to play this? Or may I make it a little easier, perhaps, or explore it? So, meaning you might want, as I'm helping other people get to through directing, but is there something that you just didn't realize there's a hole in your creative story, and there's something you really want to explore?
Farce. We have a bunch of hams, and like we do bits all the time as a company, and some of our like people that we call our company members, like there's some people that we will do bits all the time. And like even just like thinking about some of the people that we've been meeting in Toronto, like just the thought of working with them at that capacity would be so fun. So like fun. I've like just and that's the thing, it's like we're on the which is good. This is a good thing, but we are on the adventure and the challenge of learning how to pay our artists. Our goal is to pay industry standards, because we know what we demand of people and of ourselves. So it's just like, it would be really nice to be part of that movement in theater that's not like, do it for free.
It's fun.
And we haven't, like ever since we started, we've always done a profit share. We only did one show that we were below the line, but we still gave back to our artists what we could.
That was our first show.
It was our first show. It was our first show, but still. But most of our shows, we've come out with paying all of our costs and still being able to do a profit share for the whole. Like last time we had like 25 shares, and we were still able to give a little bit. It was like pennies to the hour. But our goal is to really be able to do that. So farce would be great, because we know that you need a technical director. You need, like, we're thinking about things like the play that goes wrong. So it's like sets falling, doors opening, two-tiered sets, things that rotate. Like, we would love to do a farce, but a fight farce, right? So swords flying, things that are like, I see it and I'm so excited. And that's one of the things, like, and just like comedically, like we've done mostly things that are pretty serious or like very high action, kind of like brooding, like rah rah rah. So it'd be fun to just that's my but exactly. But I would love to be able to just like let everybody go loose, because like I know we would have a blast doing it.
Amazing. Do you want to anything, Jack?
No.
Anything for you though?
Like nothing new, really. Like in recent years.
Think about a pool.
See about that. Never stops dreaming.
She just wants to have you perform in liquid. Is that the?
Yes. How cool would that be? Metamorphosis.
I was just going to say. Oh my God! Yeah, totally.
Right? I would love to do Metamorphosis. That is beautiful.
Well, and I mean, we haven't done it yet, but I did write something specifically for the two of you.
Yes.
That I was hoping were things that you don't get to do all the time, like characters and stuff. And when you were in last, we were working on a script that I thought was really great, and our with the help of Kirsten, I should say, because Kirsten is brilliant.
Oh my God!
But the deconstruction of it was interesting, and asking about like, what does this mean and stuff. And I thought you made some really wonderful comedic offers. Potato.
No, that was 100%
you. Okay, sorry. I made that one. But you made other ones too. I'm just saying. So clearly you're looking at it. You're working the comedic roots. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited about the time that I can finally get the budget for a full-on farce set, because it would be a lot of fun. It would be so much fun.
So because a lot of people are probably actually really curious about you as a as a company, right? Like, so how are you finding your funding, or how are you finding your resources?
Oh my gosh. So that is, what resource? Literally what resource? We've been actually pretty lucky. We've had some pretty stellar donations. For a while before COVID happened, we had a few people on our Patreon who were donating, which was nice. And it's dormant. It's a dormant account, but we have people from Vancouver who's been like, I'd like to support you. And they've just been, they did per month, which was nice. It's like getting a subscription. After shows, we always have a bucket. And so there's been people that have been super kind. We've like literally,
we've had amazing
someone's
nights.
just slipped us like, you know, more than, it's really lovely.
Sometimes
like
fun props.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So in our bucket, there's someone in our shows who always comes and gives us pirate bouillons.
Doubloons.
Doubloons, sorry.
Bouillons.
Yeah.
We can make soup.
So hang on. You do it with chocolate?
No. They're like the first time it was when we were doing Heroine, which is it's about two female pirates, female heroes, not and
Yeah.
so somebody came, and there was like a little like pirate
came with a
baggie,
pouch.
and it was like doubloons, and in every show since
There's always been like
there's been like a doubloon,
a doubloon, which
and
is
we're
super
like,
cool.
who is
And
this
there's
pirate
another,
that's following us around?
another pirate, and then there's someone who keeps giving us 50 cents.
Oh yeah, 50-cent coins.
Canadian 50-cent coins. So we always know, oh, they came.
No idea.
I hope you've been
funny.
keeping those.
Yeah, we've
That's
kept them,
super
yeah.
neat.
Yeah, it's really neat. So so we're always thankful, even if it's like 50 cents, because 50 cents raise is like great. But no, and it's always shocking when we get more. Our next goal is we've been ever since our first our second hit at Soul Samurai, we've done government grants. We haven't been successful yet, but we've been getting some great feedback. They always think we're overzealous, which is great. They always laugh at us during our feedback, but they are really excited about our work. So,
but they're positive about it, right?
They are, which is great, and they've been helping us as well to like, because that's the thing too. Like, especially with how dark the world is getting right now, the thought of putting violence on stage for the sake of, glorification is something that we don't do, right? So it's like when we're talking to a jury who doesn't know our work, it was very cool. For any of you who are in the fight community who want to do this, just remember writing about the story first and foremost, really painting them the picture of what the vehicle of violence does for the story, right? Like the action genre is a thing. So we talk about it from a female perspective of how we want to have like those kind of strong heroine roles and like how fun it is. Like we know that our shows are like spectacle and ragtag and like, so it's just like really painting that picture for them and like stepping away from anything that might paint the work in a negative light. So yeah, and also trying to appeal to a jury that's there's only one theater person on there, but there's also someone who does dance, music, and I do believe it's literary. So there's like 4 different people you have to appeal to. So it's really cool to like learn more about it. Like if we knew all the stuff that we're learning now, that's another thing. Bad advice. Lessons learned is get a mentor earlier.
Yeah.
Call your granting officer right away. If you don't know what you're doing, reach out to the community. We're very lucky we have a few mentors now, mentor producers, and a former AD, and we just got our first residency in North Vancouver. So we're working with with a artistic director who started off touring, which is kind of our next goal too, is like to start to tour because we have a lot of family in Toronto, so we want to start bringing some of our stuff out east, right? So yeah, lots of plans. But yeah, that, and then we know that we can't always depend on government grants, so sponsorships and donations is our next one. So we will be applying for the RBC sponsorship. There's those things. Always looking for any kind of provincial awards. I know, for example, you guys have the Cale Sheridan Award and the Wu Chen Michael Tan, I think. Wu Chen Michael Tan, thank you. Foundation out here. We're still looking for different awards that might fit our mandate or any kind of like provincial funding that we haven't tapped into, because right now it's like federal and BC Arts Council, but we're still kind of looking for those small things. Like we know like the North Shore, they were talking to us about some smaller awards for some company stuff. So we're chipping it away slowly.
Long story short, it's just a lot of things in different directions, and we have been very lucky, as Nathania said, thus far, like in terms of productions, like having people with connections to spaces that worked for us. And now it does mean a lot that so many people believe in the work that we're doing, that like we received our residency and we have access to great rehearsal spaces now, and people are willing to give us the support to look at our grants and give us feedback and
find co-presenters.
Yes,
it's so nice when you find co-presenters.
Yeah.
Someone to buy your work. That's also nice.
It's been definitely days that have been like pretty, like it's been a long slog. But
yeah, and we've done when we first started out too, we did some crowdfunding, and that was really lovely. Like it wasn't a big amount, but we were very lucky enough to
everything helps.
get a bit of money. We were surprised to see actually last year when we were out this time, there was an amazing immersive piece that happened at the Culture. They booked the whole Culture, and the rent alone to book that for the 2 or 3 weeks they needed to be there was expensive. Like they were telling me about their budget. And they actually had a very successful Indiegogo campaign. Mm-hmm. They were the first ones to like literally get $40,000 from what I see. I think it was 40,000. It was like somewhere up there. It was like super awesome. They found someone to help them out in the States. Like it was really cool. So we actually sat down and kind of like looked through their stuff and was like, because this was amazing. Like seeing their numbers climb, because everybody's kind of done some kind of crowdfunding. And theirs was like very successful, very cool. And so.
And if I could add an observation, I think something the two of you did that was really, really, really smart was finding a partner in the other and started building community. So I started alone and I had friends, but it was really hard. And I will fully admit, with all the support I had, it was Kirsten who took me to the next tier, right? And that was where I really started being able to offer more opportunities to more teachers and bring in much more people. So I guess I just want to throw it out to the people watching this. You don't have to do it alone, right? And in fact, I would suggest many hands make light work, right? And there are days when you aren't strong, and it's nice having someone to lean on. Yeah, and just between the viewer, like ignore them for a second. I love these two so much. It's official, they're family, right? And I'm going to say something I think that I read recently that was really interesting. It's very important for everyone to find mentors. It's important for people who are older to find younger mentors, to educate them in things that they don't know they don't have. And I've been getting help from you two. For instance, there's YouTube videos that now make a lot more sense when you look at my YouTube channel. But honestly, you've given me tremendous things. And I just wanted to thank you for that. And I wanted to share this moment with the people watching this, that you have to remember that when things are dark and lonely and hard, when you have someone, it makes it easier. Much easier.
My gosh, like we were actually talking about how you guys did it to begin with, like not only just the WIT, but as fight directors, fight choreographers, like doing some gigs alone, right? You've done some of those by them. Terrifying. So like it's so exhausting. So it's so fun, like to be able to have that sounding board, because every classroom, every set, every rehearsal hall brings all its own challenges. So it's nice when it's fun and it's, great, but there's, when times when it's a little bit tougher, it's always fun to be able to be like, okay, this is where we're at. And then we get, you have someone to help you with that, like the solidarity of like, no, we're still making art. It's not great right now, but at least it's a fun story to tell everybody later. Or, or however it pans out. Cause sometimes it just happens, right? Sometimes it's just a hard day on set, or it's a hard day in the rehearsal hall, or, 40 teenagers sometimes that don't want to be there is never,
school.
I know, literally, they look at you, they're like, you're like, oh, this is the room right now. Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So you remember the thing is to pick the biggest one. Who's the boss of the room? You take them down. Oh no, wait.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's I'm wrong.
Oh, not prison. Oh, not prison.
Yeah. Art papers. So we're going to do this again, right? Because we need new environments and times for us to discuss more things, right? So I want to leave you with a chance to one last offer, one last zinger. Is there something that, because you knew I wanted to talk with you, and were there things that you had expectations of, desires that you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on yet?
How about this? I think for those people who want to start their own work, or for us, we're curious on how to take our company to the next level. It's like, what is advice that you have, Dan, about like creating your own company. Like what would have been something that you would have liked to know earlier on when you started? Because we're going to be on the verge of figuring out, like, our next step is figuring out a not-for-profit or a for-profit business. So we know personally that we would, we're going to figure out how to be attached to a not-for-profit, because we also still teach, we still do all those other things as well. So any advice that you have for people who are just, basically, when you start a company, you are starting a business, even if it's a not-for-profit. It's like, what is good advice to give?
So the first thing is, we're always afraid of spending money because none of us have any. But I think it's a good idea to talk to a pro. Do you know what I mean? And invest that money properly. Ask around, find someone who really knows what you need to know. So the right lawyer or the right, you're talking about writing grants, or people who do it all the time who are successful. And hire them for an hour and go in with a list of questions of what you need to know. So I was going to say plan, right? Plan. It's super hard. Like, budgeting is really hard because sometimes it's frightening to put on paper your dreams and your hopes. And it can be very humbling, right? Tell me if I'm wasting your time. Sorry.
No, Jackie. When you said budget, like you said, putting it down to paper. I'm the first one when I see a big number, go, "This is cool," and Jackie's like, "This is a big number."
Yeah.
Like, I go like, "Oh, neat!" Like, it's really, and most of it goes down to like wages and stuff like that, which is great. Like, being able to know that if we get that money, that's what we give back. But they're just, they're big, they're great. I think they're so cool. And every time Jackie's there, she's just like, that happens. Hands and face.
It's super important. You asked me, you were talking, like, advice I wish I could give my younger self that I know I would not have listened to, because I still don't listen to it well now, is, let's call it the tidal wave effect. When you have quite a bit that needs to be done and it looks like a tidal wave coming at you, and you feel like you're going to get crushed under this wave, this terrible, terrible wave of obligations and work and stuff. Remember, though, it's still made up of drops of water. And as we break things down, and ideally have our team, and this is super hard, parsing that and giving people things to do, right? Do you know what I mean? Trusting that it'll be done, because we also know what happens sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't get done. So that's also on that learning curve of who you can trust and who you can depend on. But it's that sense of my dad had a saying about, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And it sounds silly, but it's so true. And the other thing I think I would want to remind myself, and I would give to you, is the tremendous sense of satisfaction and pleasure being on the other side of a decision and the other side of an action. So sometimes we're stuck frozen with indecision and fear of the potential, like, we're afraid of making the wrong decision or doing the wrong thing. And once you've made your decision, it's tremendously freeing. And the irony is, even if it doesn't work out the way you want, I'm not going to say make a mistake or end in disaster, because that's not really what we're talking about. It's just, I made my decision and now I'm coming from a different direction than I perhaps had hoped or thought. It's still a direction. Does that make sense? Versus floating in a void and not knowing. That would be something I would want to share, because I think I can think back the number of times I had allowed myself to float and be unhappy. Though it's interesting, this time in this, like what's happening right now, is, can you hear her? My cat going,
Alice!
Yeah. Alice! Anyway, she wants to show me she's a great hunter and she has a toy. Anyway, I don't feel like doing things right now. And I think that's okay, right? Because as you were saying, in these times you alluded to earlier, it's a lot. There's a lot on us. And the irony is, I'm sure other people say, "Oh my God, Dan, you're so busy, you're doing stuff all the time." But for me, it feels like I'm in amber when I'm not doing anything. And it was not financially hard giving back all that money and canceling all those classes. It was emotionally hard telling people we couldn't do what they wanted to do, hope to do with the classes. It was emotionally hard to tell all these people I love and respect that I was going to hire that I couldn't, right? At the same time, though, nobody was negative or surprised. right? Like there was no pushback and nothing like that. So I think you have to remind yourself that you are not alone again in these states. That's all I was going to say. So last thing, and then we'll cut it for now. What do you think? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, that was,
No.
I think just kind of that feeling. I am in the position where I'm battling with actually resting. Like where it's like that we're actually given a time, yes, to do a lot of things. Like, you know, that people were talking about that productivity. It's like, don't waste your productivity during this time of quarantine.
I
But also,
there we go.
yeah. and I think all the power to people who are finding the joy. If it makes you happy during this time, please do it.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's going to be a new normal that we're going to have to adjust to. But I also hope that I can look back and be like, oh, because we are so busy as artists, we hustle a lot. We're constantly going from A to B to B to A to C to W to, you know,
3 or 4 jobs in a day.
3 or 4 jobs in a day. And we're given this opportunity to really rest. And I admire the people that have actually taken the time to do that. I've heard people who have finally found just a bit of rejuvenation of being like, oh, because I don't feel like I have to keep up with everybody right now, because the playing field is this now, right now. You know, like everybody gets to rest, everybody gets to, you know, and so they're actually taking the time to be like, yes, this is nice to like actually rest and, you know, leisure read, or, you know, like make a garden, do these things, just do things that fill them with joy. Like regardless of what you want to do, whether it's productivity, whether it's resting, or, you know, spending time with people on Zoom doing these things. I just hope people are finding joy in this time, because it's hard. It's a really big mental game on everything. Because like in my brain, I'm like, well, I have to be busy. Don't waste this time. Well, but then you need some rest. It's there, that dichotomy, like it's there.
So who do you think you're betraying? Where that voice comes from? Who are you betraying when you're not being always successful?
Right? I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like that's the
That being said, if you get a pull, follow it. That, like for instance, I just sat down and wrote something because I wanted to give you something, right? You know, and so it was selfish for me, but you know what I mean. It was something for me to do, but it was great to share with you. So I'm just gonna say my affection for these two is boundless, and I love them both very, very much. And we will have our time together again soon. So thank you so much for talking, and
thanks, Dan.
Don't be strangers. Okay, and again, for people who watched this, if you have some questions for Nathania and Jackie, let me know, and I'll be very happy to either ask them at the next meeting or share them with them, and maybe they'll do so.
Or also comment below, because we have actually a YouTube as well. So if you want to comment, just comment on Dan's video, and we can actually message you personally too. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan.